Welcome to the Toffee Blues, your source for all things Everton. Welcome to the extra time for Arsenal 4, Everton nil. Everton capitulate and roll over for Arsenal. Obviously, the league leaders, a good performance from them, but Everton, started the game pretty well, but it all fell apart pretty quickly, didn't it? Gets to about the 40-minute mark at 0-0. It was looking pretty good. But Kyle Saka got in behind Mikalenko in a little gap. I think Mikalenko should have done better for that. But Bukayo Saka took the goal really well, and that breaks the deadlock, and then you're up against it a little bit. The second goal was absolutely scandalous. Idrissa Gana Gueye just not looking over his shoulder, taking absolute ages on the ball, just dithering in on the edge of his own penalty area. Bukayo Saka nabbed it off. Yes, the VAR decision might have been a little bit debatable, and fear that if that was us on the attack and that happened, that it probably wouldn't be given. But it was given, and we were punished for a really, really poor mistake. You can't, as much as I'd love to blame the referee for that, it's not on the referee. That's on Idrissa Gana Gueye and his stupidity in a really dangerous position. And that left us going into the break at 2-0 down, which is just, that kind of knocks the stuffing out of us. But whereas at 1-0 down, we still had a chance. Then come out after the break, Arsenal just stepped it up a gear and ran Riot over us then. Two more well-taken goals. Odegaard and Martinelli as well, getting his second of the game. And that second half, they just absolutely took the mickey out of us, let's be quite honest. Just not good enough from us. But we knew we were going into this very much second best on paper, and it pretty much stuck to the form book, stuck to the quality of the teams. Really, that was how it turned out. A 4-0 win, a very comfortable win for Arsenal, and a chasing afternoon for us. Part of the matter is, I think the most important games are still to come. Ones against relegation rivals, ones where we really have to step it up. I think it's disappointing to have to say this, but we probably would have expected this. It wasn't a game where you look down the line on the fixture calendar and gone, oh, we'll pick some points up there. I'll be honest, I was never confident about this fixture. We've got to try and get this one out of our heads as quickly as possible and bounce back. Very important away game coming up next against Nottingham Forest. So I'm not going to go into too much depth with this game. I'll just quickly go through the performances. I think Idrissa Gana Gueye was terrible. Made that mistake which cost them the all-important second goal and was rightly hooked to half time. Mason Holgate came on for him and didn't really do much better, let's be honest. Michael Keane came back in for this in place of Connor Cody. There's been a lot of clamour for Connor Cody to be dropped recently, and I'm not saying his performances have been amazing. He's pulled up any trees. I thought his performance was poor against Aston Villa, but I think you saw what happens when you drop him and bring Michael Keane in. Connor Cody's got flaws, but he's a bit of a solid mentality. I think Michael Keane comes back into the team, and it's like a hark straight back to the the second half of last season when we were conceding 4 goals in games regularly. Conceding goals and the head just dropped and the whole. I mean, I'm not putting this completely on Michael Keane, but it's just pointing that he comes back into the game and he starts chipping goals again. Yeah, he hasn't been in the team for quite some time, and even when we have lost, we've lost by a more narrow margin than this, and we haven't really come out at least not too embarrassed. But Michael Keane and Mason Holgate come back in, and Ben Godfrey as well, and all of a sudden the defence didn't look as solid. And yet it's a higher calibre of opposition than Aston Villa and certainly higher than Leeds, but it's I think we still could have done better defensively because of certainly even if we lost that game, kept the score down a little bit. That really would have done us a bit more of a favour in terms of goal difference as well. I think. So yeah, I think I'd like to see Connor Cody back in the team if, rather it's not like an injury or anything. I don't know, but I'd like to see Cody back in with Tarkowski for the Forest game. Mikalenko, like I said, was poor. He made a few errors in this game. Obviously, The first goal was he was kind of caught between two players. How much of that's his fault, I don't really know. But our shape wasn't right for that goal. That's not just Mikalenko. I think there was players around him. Others done a lot better for that. I think Coleman wasn't great. I think that was another one of those where he's an older player and the many games in quick succession have caught up on him. He was subbed and, probably a much needed rest for him. Hopefully he'll still be okay to play against Nottingham Forest. Midfield was poor. Interesting on again, like I say. Decore didn't do a lot, and Arna was really anonymous. Awobi was poor, shaked a couple of tackles, if I'm not mistaken, as well. Mopey had one of his better games, actually, but still toothless, couldn't finish his dinner. Sky the long shot over the bar, and that was about it. Got hooked on the hour mark, 3-0 down already. So yeah, the case for Mopey still not seeing a lot in that respect. And that just leaves Dwight McNeil, who was again the best player on the pitch for us. I think he's been a revelation since Sean Dyche took over. Even in spite of all the poor performances have just reeled off, he carried himself relatively well. Actually brought a save out of Aaron Ramsdale with a good shot from outside the box, and that's like best we mustered really. And he looked like our only threat in this game. And we brought Damani Gray on. He didn't really do anything. That you can't expect a lot from some of these players. They're not that good, and that's why we're down where we are. We're, the team is for the most part rubbish, and you know we've got a real uphill task on to stay out of danger. This game, even though it's a horrible 4-goal defeat, isn't going to define the season, but coming games might just with teams near to us in the table. These games, 6 pointers, to use the cliche. That's what we're coming up and going into next. Nottingham Forest away. Be a good game to certainly, break the. We've got 2 defeats on the spin now. We want to sort of turn that around. Certainly, at least get a point and stop the rot. Um, so yeah, onto that basically, and try and get this one out of our minds as quickly as possible. Tough watch. I think we're expecting much better, but I would have liked to have kept the scores down a bit more. That's all. I think just don't like losing by that kind of margin. It's disappointing. But beyond that, like I'm not gonna go on about this one too much because it's done now. We've got more important games to worry about, bigger fish to fry. So we'll leave it at that. Arsenal 4, Everton 0. Let us know your opinions and get your comments coming in. Give this video a like and subscribe for more content. Until next time, guys, thanks for watching on the Toffee Blues.